What's up guys, it's National Master Dem Apples back again with another video. Hope you all are doing well. In today's video, we'll take a look at one of the most effective chess gambits ever. So a lot of people play e4, and a lot of people like to go e5 in response. Now the most natural moves following this are knight f3 and then knight c6, just simple development, and the most common moves after this are, you guessed it, bishop c4 and bishop c5. Now, some people play knight f6, but generally, in my experience, people tend to avoid the fried liver. It can get very complex. So, after bishop c5, we go d4. Now, this looks so strange, right? Black covers d4 3 different times. So why are we playing it? Well, the truth is, any way black captures, they fall, or they run the high risk of falling for a trap. So let's take a look at it. First of all, black has to take this pawn. If black doesn't take this pawn, we will take his pawn. For example, bishop b6, we take, and after takes, we take, we're up a pawn. Black's like, no you aren't, I'm gonna win my pawn back. Nice try. We go queen f3, and all of a sudden, if he takes here, we get here, and this is really bad news. Now, bishop g5 check is coming, and yeah, looks like even after knight e7, black can already lose the game. So, yeah, black is not winning the pawn back. You might say, well, black has a fork here, right? This is not true. White can block and protect the bishop. And so, again, white is using tactics to make sure black cannot take his pawn. So, yes, black does have to respond. So, after pawn d4, let's take a look at the captures. Bishop d4 is an option. Knight d4 is an option. And, last option is pawn takes d4. Let's take a look at bishop takes d4 first. We're going to take the bishop off the board. And now, usually black takes with the knight. Now, black could take with the pawn, but it's not the greatest idea, because white's going to be able to castle and possibly go c3, and additionally, if white wants, he can win back the pawn at any time by just simply moving his bishop, taking this knight, and then taking this pawn. So white runs absolutely no risk at all here. After something simple like castles, white is already a bit better. He can also choose to win the pawn back by bringing his knight from d2 to f3, adding another attacker on the pawn. So white is doing quite well here, especially because he took black's dark-squared bishop, and usually bishops are better than knights, especially in open positions like this. And so most people should take with the knight, not ruining their pawn structure. And after bishop e3, we threaten to win back our pawn right away with a pretty active queen and a quite active bishop. So most of the time, black will go back. However, we have this really cool move here. Queen to h5. You might think, oh, you're such a noob. You're threatening checkmate in one, like Scholar's Mate. Everyone's gonna see that. Well, not really. See, black only has one good move here, and after queen e7, we can go knight c3, getting ready to gain another tempo on the queen, which is pretty nice for us. Black can already screw up, and pretty much white gets a huge advantage after queen f6, which looks very logical, right? We're defending checkmate. But there's a huge difference between queen e7 and queen f6. And that's because after queen f6, knight e7, because if black does nothing, right, a6, we go here, and after, say, I don't know, queen to d8, we have a very nice mate in 3 by removing the defender. So black does have to respond to this threat, has to go knight e7, developing his pieces. So knight e7 here. And after knight to b5, black's kind of busted because he has to move his king. We've already gotten all our pieces out. We're going to castle next, or either way, to be honest. We're going to go here, and yeah, black's in big trouble. Especially because he can't castle, because his knight has to defend the pawn. There is no good way to defend the pawn. And he was going to get forked. So, this is a pretty nice trap. The second trap there is, goes after knight takes. Now you might say, well, what's the big deal, right? Okay, we go bishop e3. We're preparing. We have 3 attackers on this knight, and he only has 2 defenders. Therefore, we are threatening to win our pawn back right away. We can also take the pawn here. So what does black do? Well, the most common move, played about 70% of the time, mind you, is knight takes knight, which blunders the entire game. This is the most natural move possible. Well, I just want to take you, so why don't you take them first? Well, after takes, there is a problem here. Again, it's with the f7 square. This is what this opening is all about, and black's in trouble. We threaten checkmate. Okay, so what says black? He defends checkmate. Well, your bishop's also hanging. Whoops. Okay, you take this back, right? After queen f7, king d8, queen takes pawn, your rook is trapped, and I don't care if I lose my bishop, because I checkmate you, not even the rook. Checkmate. So this is pretty bad for black. He can screw up right away, and again, he doesn't have to take. But if he doesn't take, say he goes, I don't know, knight f6 or something like this, this is also bad, because we can take here, and all of a sudden we threaten the pawn on f7, as well as the knight, because 2 attackers, 1 defender. Black is in big trouble. So it's pretty hard to play from the black side of the position. We're just going to win our pawn back, even in the worst case scenario. And the last thing that I would like to show is what happens after pawn takes. Here we have a very nice pawn to c3, and we're trying to take back our pawn right away. And the thing is, if we get to take back with the pawn, we'll have a really nice center, and we'll be much better. So black usually will take this pawn before we can take him. And so after pawn takes pawn, we have the brilliant bishop takes f7. Boom. So what's going on here, right? Well, black can obviously move the king, but he's probably going to take the bishop. Moving the king is the worst move, by the way. After king takes, we have queen to d5, forking the king and the bishop. So we're winning our material back. And after the king moves, say to, I don't know, e8, queen takes bishop. White is already much better. First of all, black's king can no longer castle, and second of all, we're going to just win this pawn back. Now, you might say, okay, well, black can still be up a pawn after takes. No, this is really, really bad. Black is not defending this pawn on g7, and a try like queen e7 just, lets white get away with a ton more than he deserves. After something like, even queen to h5, check, black is forced to move the king again. He can't go g6, because after this, white just moves the queen, and all of a sudden, you still can't protect your rook. Note that you should not take the queen here, because black is not obligated to take with this knight or this knight, but rather can take here. And after takes, he can go rook g8, and now you're the one in a bit of trouble. Not that big, but, you know, just a tad bit. And so, again, this position is really good, because black can't castle. We're about to castle, and we're about to throw an enormous attack after we take this pawn back, bring our bishop out, bring all our pieces into the party, and win the game. Anyways, this has been the Scotch Gambit, the opening where you hang a pawn 3 different ways, and none of them are good. Alright, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.